us for tonight's episode of the HR Insider. We will continue talking about life insurance and other insurance options that you as a consumer or you as a business owner or an employee might be interested in. As always, my name is Alisha. I'm the CEO of Easy Time Clock, and I am joined with my co-host Beth, who works with us over in marketing at Easy Time Clock as well. And tonight our guest speaker is Brent Brown with Edmond Insurance Professionals. So Brent, why don't you start us off this evening talking about your company, your passion, how long you've been doing it?
Yeah, certainly. So my company is Edmond Insurance Professionals, and we do auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I got involved with insurance actually several years ago. I was selling cars. While I was doing that, I actually kind of had the opportunity to work with several insurance agents, and I just kind of thought to myself, well, shoot, this looks like an easy job. I can do that. Yeah, well, I learned a lot, let's just say that. But, I started out working as a captive agency and then kind of eventually found my way into the independent market, and now I have my own agency. I really love insurance because I really enjoy being able to help people just kind of understand what the coverages are and really just kind of sit there and be able to kind of advise them about making wise financial decisions, and insurance is a huge part of that. So.
With your company, you've owned it for how long?
So we have been open since August of 2016, so we're still a fairly new company, about a year and a half now, I guess.
We just hit 2 years, so yay,
all right, yay!
And is it just you in your office, or do you have employees?
No, so there's myself, and then I also have a partner. She goes by the fabulous Joan Curtis. And then I also have a producer, someone who sells for me, and then we also have a CSR. So there's a small office, about 5 people in there.
So I don't know some of those words. So CSR, producer, what is that? The equivalent? Customer sales rep.
Exactly,
I guess. CSR,
yeah. Okay. Customer service representative. So a producer is basically just a salesman. He's a licensed agent. So when you call in, his name is Jory. So if you call in and ask for Jory, he is completely qualified to sell you any type of insurance.
So you have taken on the challenges of opening a business, or did you buy it?
I pretty much opened it. Now, I had the privilege of working as a producer myself for another agency, and I was blessed to be able to purchase my book of production from him. But it was still a huge endeavor. So I mean, I had the business, but then I had to actually make a business out of it. So I had to, register for a license and open the doors, pay rent, all that fun stuff.
So you have the struggles of a new business owner, as well as having clients that are already there because you're able to purchase somebody else's clientele, I guess is kind of how you are putting that. And hiring and firing, hopefully I don't have to do much of that too much yet.
Not a lot yet.
And as well as growing your business. So one of our big questions for you tonight would be kind of tell us a little bit about what makes you unique compared to just jumping out and calling State Farm and saying, hey, give me my stuff. What makes you a little bit different?
Right. Well, certainly. One of the reasons why the captive realm of insurance, being stuck with just one company, didn't really work for me, is because I'm a very relationship driven person. I really like building those relationships. And so whenever I first started selling insurance, those relationships were who I started, going after to start. And the company that I was with just didn't happen to really like my friends very much.
Oh, no.
So being an independent agent, I can work with people in just about any type of circumstance. So every different insurance agency or different insurance company has its kind of preferred target, the people who they want, whether it be this one's looking for, the married couple who's just starting out with life, has good credit, or, another one that's specifically designed for people who might be younger, especially with car insurance, and, maybe have a little bit less driving history, or another insurance company might prefer to insure somebody who's a little bit more mature, a little bit older, and has established, work history and credit and things like that. So every different insurance company is going to kind of have its different requirements and its different target market. And being an independent agent lets me work with several of these companies to be able to work with as many people as possible.
It sounds like relationships and relationship building is really important to you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So, as we've kind of shared a couple of times, I lost my mom last year to cancer, and she had stage 4 lung cancer that metastasized to her bone, and she didn't have life insurance. What we haven't shared with the world is that Beth also lost her parents to cancer at a very young age, and one had life insurance and one didn't. Now, in Beth's circumstance, share with us a little bit about how that the lack of insurance and the benefit of insurance, how that helped your situations.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I've been on both sides of the coin. My mom was diagnosed with advanced breast cancer when I was 19, and because it was so aggressive, it was less than a year that she passed. She did not have life insurance. It was very different. Now, thankfully, then my dad was still alive, and he didn't have to carry the burden that Alisha had to carry with her mom because you were her caregiver.
Right.
And so I was 19. My dad was there to carry the burden of paying for a funeral, the medical bills, the hospice, the in-home health care. So I didn't feel the burden or stress financially of that. Now as an adult and knowing what my dad had to go through it's enlightening, and you just realize how huge of a burden it is. This is something maybe you can touch on that most people don't know. So my father could not continue, he was retired, continued to pay for this policy. So my brother and I became signers, is that the right word? Using the right word, on that policy. So he and my brother and I continued to pay for the policy, and then were beneficiaries of the policy when he passed away. He passed away of a sudden heart attack. At that time, it was just myself and my brother having to deal with paying for and planning a funeral, medical cost, his estate, all of those things. Being an independent insurance provider, you can find the perfect policy for each person.
That's right.
Nice.
That's right. We can find kind of the best fit for you, and you know, one thing I'll let you know, because I do other lines as well. So I tend to stick to kind of simple, straightforward policies, things that we call term life policies. Mm-hmm. But I'm more than happy to if you're looking for a specific policy that's going to do a bunch of other different special features too. That's something that I might recommend to you to speak with like a financial advisor or a counselor as well. But one thing I wanted to get back to that you really hit on, and that I think is really, really important for people when they start kind of thinking about, okay, I need to get life insurance. One of the big things that stops them is they don't even know where to start. They don't know where to start. They don't know, well, how much life insurance do I need? Why am I getting life insurance? You know, a lot of times if you ask somebody why they're getting life insurance, it's because, well, I know I need to get it. And so, you know, I love the way you kind of talked about what the life insurance did for you and your family and how it kind of provided for you, you know, to make some car payments and things like that. Really, there's three main purposes, three main things that your insurance is really going to kind of go towards. And that's kind of the first thing you want to take into consideration whenever you're purchasing life insurance. So the first one, which you mentioned, is you know, the immediate expenses of what happens after you die, because you've got all kinds of expenses that are just immediate that your family has to deal with, things like funerals and burials and all kinds of legal paperwork and all that type of stuff. So that's the very first and probably the minimum level of life insurance that you're going to want to insure yourself for, is to make sure that after you pass away, your family, your loved ones aren't having to deal with the burden of, one, your loss, but two, the financial burden of it.
And I have that number. It's at least $30,000.
Exactly. It's ridiculously expensive.
That's how much I needed, was at least $30,000 to take care of all of my mom's end-of-life expenses.
So the next level is what's considered to be income replacement. And this is extremely important, especially for younger people who are just kind of getting started, who are getting started in life, people who are starting to have kids. Because as you get married and as you have children, you have a spouse, especially if you're the sole breadwinner of the family, if something happens to you, then that income is gone. And so not only have you left the burden of your death, but you've left the burden of now my family has to figure out how they're going to make ends meet. And so that's the second kind of factor that you want to consider. And so a lot of people will decide to choose an amount that's going to provide enough income for them for a certain period of time. And then the third factor is what's considered to be kind of leaving a legacy. And so that third factor is maybe you want your kids to go to college and have their college paid for. You don't want them to worry about having to pay off student loans. Or maybe you work for a nonprofit and you really love the work that they do, and you want to see, you want to know that nonprofit is secure in the future, or that a large gift that might be beneficial to further that cause. So that's kind of the leaving the legacy, and so that's kind of the third step of life insurance. Now, a price tag is going to vary depending on how much you need, but those are kind of the three steps that you want to consider when you're purchasing a life insurance policy.
Could I have taken out a policy on my mom like 5 years before she got cancer? Or is there options for people with cancer that maybe exist that I just couldn't find?
I guess, yeah, technically there's got to be, in the insurance world, we call it an insurable interest. Mm-hmm. Meaning, like you said, it's got to make sense. Typically, there's got to be some type of fiduciary, meaning, you've got to have some type of financial relationship with that person. Like you said, I can't just go take a life insurance policy out on Bill Gates or, or just some random person. But a lot of times, parents will do this for their children, or like you said, you could take out a life insurance policy for your parents if needed. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Also, one other thing I want to get out there, because it's really important. A lot of people get intimidated by insurance, a lot of life insurance. A lot of people get intimidated by what they think the cost is going to be. Most of the time, it's a lot less than you think.
Like $15 a month.
I can literally insure, a 25-year-old person for less than a Netflix subscription. So please don't avoid it because you think it's going to be too expensive. Anything's better than nothing, and I can help you out with that.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I had one more question, but I've lost it. I lost my other question.
Well,
do you do business policies? Like as a small business,
mm-hmm.
Or any size company, are they able to come to you and you're able to provide company policies?
Yes.
That's something you can do.
Yes, that is something I can do, and there's a few different types. Of course, there's the standard, the life insurance for your employees, like you just spoke. Mm-hmm. There's also what's called key person insurance. So, I have a partner, for example, and she is very much the marketer, and she goes out and she drives in a lot of the sales. I'm actually more on the operations side of type things. So if she were to ever pass away, I would lose a huge portion of my business, and the same thing with her. So we have a key person insurance where I actually have a policy out on her, and if she were to pass away, then that's going to
gets the money, I guess.
Exactly. So that's going to help kind of not replace her, because she is irreplaceable, but but it's going to help ease the financial burden of finding another person who can produce like she does.
And that's only if she dies. So if she quits or you fire her, I guess, or you break your relationship, you can't take out that policy.
Yeah, no, unfortunately can't do that.
And is the company the policy holder, or you personally the policy holder?
The company would be in that respect, yes.
Well, thanks again for your time.
Mm-hmm.
Always feel like I learn more and more talking with you and other professionals in their fields. And then if anyone watching has a specific question for Brent, please comment or email us. We'll get it to him. Hopefully maybe we can even have his email address where you can contact him directly. But thanks again, for joining us. Again, I'm Beth.
And I'm Alisha. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching tonight's episode of the HR Insider. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And we love ideas from you, so please, if you have any topics that you would like more information on or find interesting, we love for you to leave those in the comments below. And again, thanks for watching HR Insider. My name is Beth.
And I'm Alisha. Good night.